the thing you have to realize too is that while you're utilizing something to help you save more time, the time that you would have been spending on posting organically, you can now utilize to engage with other people on your following list or those who follow you. The more Instagram sees or the algorithm captures you engaging with other accounts and liking other photos, the more it's going to allow your profile to rise in terms of its visibility and the number of impressions that are made on that profile consistently, or even just the post. It's really important to not only have people engage with your posts on Instagram, but engage with them back, whether it's responding to their comments or, like I mentioned, going to their Instagram profiles and liking and commenting on some of their photos. The engagement factor is key in how to grow your Instagram account.
So you're a smart business committed to innovation, to service and to modern marketing, and you're asking, what's next? Wondering how you can become even more innovative. My name is Jürgen Strauss from InnovaBuzz, and this is the InnovaBuzz podcast, where we share all kinds of tips, advice and interview guests on all things innovation and leadership in modern marketing. Hi there, Innovator. It's great to be back with another episode. I hope you've had an awesome week so far. I trust you enjoyed my reflections on 200 episodes of the InnovaBuzz podcast and our most recent interview with Monica Louie. I'm really excited to have on the InnovaBuzz podcast as my guest today, Sarah Allison. Sarah is a social media and Instagram marketing expert and owner of Mother of Marketing. She helps young business owners and entrepreneurs build their business with social media coaching, social strategy consulting, and social media training. Today's episode is brought to you by the Transformational Marketing Hub, where you'll find a host of free and exceptionally useful information to help you transform your marketing. You can access the Transformational Marketing Hub by visiting innovabiz.co/VIP. Go check it out. It's free to join, and if you're already a member, just log in to get your resources. In our discussion today, Sarah talked to me about the importance of engaging with your social media followers and building trust. She told me about the difference between the Instagram feed and Instagram stories, and when you should use each. And she explained how to invite social media followers to your email list to continue to build the relationship. Without further ado then, let's fly into the hive and get the buzz from Sarah Allison. Hi, I'm your host Jürgen Strauss from InnovaBuzz, and I'm really excited to welcome to the InnovaBuzz podcast today from Phoenix, Arizona in the USA, Sarah Allison. She's from Mother of Marketing. Sarah is an Instagram marketing expert and social media coach. Welcome to the podcast, Sarah. It's a great privilege to have you as my guest.
Thanks for having me on. I'm really excited.
Yeah, so am I. Now, Kayla Sloan, who was our guest on episode 186, suggested that we interview you. So a big hello to Kayla.
Thank
Sarah,
you,
Sarah, you're all about helping young business owners and entrepreneurs navigate their life, their marketing, and how to build a business they love. And you do a lot of that through social media consulting and training, and a lot of your social media activity is centered around Instagram. So I'm really excited to dig into that some more. But before we talk about all things marketing and brand and social media and Instagram, give us a little bit of a high-level snapshot of your background. How did you get to where you are today, and what were some of the pivotal moments in that journey?
Sure. So I actually went to college for fine art and was going to be a gallery curator for a very long time. And then I got pregnant with my son, and because of the toxic fumes of some of the painting chemicals and the nature of being in the world of oil painting and everything, I was not able to continue on with that coursework. So I switched it up and I decided to go for a general art degree and took a class on how to market yourself as an artist with my favorite professor of all time, Cindy Kuhn, who taught me so much about the potential to be anything based on an art degree. Because we came from this concept of being an artist, you'll never make any money, you'll always be poor. And she was like, that's crap. Like, we're not going to focus on being an artist and being poor. You're going to be a rich artist. You're going to be a rich creator and creative. Which really allowed me to kind of see the potential in what I had been doing on the side throughout college, which was social media marketing. My very first gig in the social media world was with this guy named Lucian Spataro, who is a equine professor down at the University of Arizona at that time. And it was writing blogs and sharing those blogs on the old Facebook and MySpace. And it was very, like, I talk about that now and it feels eons away, but it was literally like less than 10 years ago, right?
Things move fast in social media, don't they? Or in the online space. I don't know, is MySpace still around?
MySpace is still around. I checked into it the other day and I'm like, wow, it still feels the same and looks the same, but no one uses it anymore. So it's kind of not even anything that anyone pays attention to anymore. Facebook kind of took over that role. But anyway, so when I gave birth to my son, I was still, working towards my art degree and was going to do some gallery stuff, maybe marketing with galleries. But being a single mom, I really understood that I needed a job that was going to make me money and help me support this new child that came into the world that I loved so much. So I decided that I would go full steam ahead with social media marketing because it was really easy to pick up and I had already been learning how to do it and was teaching myself everything about it. I got my first agency job after I graduated college and ran and built their social media department from the ground up. And then in 2015, some things shifted when the owner of the company was demanding me go on business travel adventures all the time. And I'm like, I've got a 1-year-old at home. I can't be doing this more than once a month. And he was very anti that. So I mic drop left that job in 2015 and took everything with social media that I had been doing on the side and what I had learned in managing a department and created my own business, and have been doing that full time for almost 4 years now.
That's fascinating. Yeah. So what were some of the challenges you then faced when you started the business? And you obviously took a lot of skills away from what you'd learned at the agency job, but did you kind of bump into some big challenges early on?
Yeah. So the great thing about my position at this firm was I was able to really understand how to better organize a company and clients and hold on to their documentation and all the proper policies for all of that. But the challenge was then implementing all that I had learned into a company that I had been contracted to work with. Originally, this company, which I'm not going to mention the name, but this company and I entered into an agreement, and I was working very part-time with them for about a month or two. And then when I mic drop left the agency job, they asked me to come on for more hours each month. And over the 3 years that I was with them, it grew, and the amount of time I was dedicating and pay increased as well. So it was my primary job, which made it easier to not have to go chase down clients and write proposals and constantly hustle. It was just them and maybe 2 or 3 clients that I had on the side for a little while. And it felt more like freelancing than it felt like running my own business, which was really easy. And then in 2017, things kind of escalated with this company, and some of their business practices were not kosher. And a lot of the people in the blogging community that I'm a part of will kind of be able to agree with the feeling of, inconsistency and just some hostility between some of the people that worked at this company. And I decided, you know what? I am going to full on drop this client, and I will find 5 new clients to replace the income from this one client. And I will be okay. And I'd rather be struggling financially than have my mental wherewithal completely questioned every single day with this company. And that was when the biggest challenge hit 2 years after I had, left my big job. So I guess it wasn't 3 years, it was 2 years. Felt like a long time, and not a great way. And so with that, I started to pick up the rustiness of building out proposals and creating new projects for people on a much more rapid and quick basis in comparison to kind of the low-key business ownership and freelance lifestyle I had grown accustomed to in those first 2 years. And even before then, those 8 years working with that. And it was a really big challenge to bring on the number of clients I needed to without, sufficient income. I think the biggest challenges for business owners and people starting out in business early on is managing your finances and finding people that you can trust to help you understand how to manage those finances, from taxes to, your personal taxes, to getting your EIN number for your company and filing for a business license. Like, there are so many different moving parts to starting a company on a financial basis that you just don't know about unless you read about it or were educated about it in college, or had someone who was like, hey, let me help you understand how to do all of this properly. Because a lot of companies out there will just be like, yeah, we'll do this for you. It's $500 flat fee every single month. And then, you 2 or 3 years later, you're like, I don't have any of the records of this information properly written out or laid out for me. And this is a big problem. Other than that, there's been some time management challenges. I think a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners will agree that having, wanting to run your own business, you want to work all the time and you want to do your absolute best all of the time. And you want to do everything because, you're Superman or Superwoman and you got this. But the reality is that you don't, and you need to manage your time well enough to where you're giving yourself built-in downtime. Times to take breaks and relax and enjoy the world around you. Or you're going to end up, sick and a little bit slower and have to take back some of the volunteering that you were doing and everything, which is what happened to me recently, back in April.
Yeah, there's a lot of really good lessons in that, isn't there? First of all, kind of finding that balance. Well, first of all, kudos to you for kind of saying, I'm not going to work with a company where the ethos, the culture, and the way they treat me is not consistent with my expectations and my values. So, and I think, a lot of people earlier on in their business, because they need money and they need the income, compromise at that level, and it does really drain you. It does really, I'll put my hand up. I was guilty of that too. It does really drain you. It does really tire you out and wear you out. You do make compromises in things that are actually more important, and you get sick. So, so good on you for recognizing that early on and putting that aside. The other bit that came out of that for me is, finding that balance between getting people on board that can help you, that you trust and that have your best interests at heart, in areas where you're not necessarily an expert, and also to help with the time management bit so that you can focus your energy and your efforts on where you add value to the business. And I think that's really great. And then that gives you the freedom, if you like, which we all crave as entrepreneurs, the freedom to spend time with family, spend time with your son, for example, spend time doing the things that we're passionate about outside of work, volunteering, and whatever that may be.
Yeah.
So your whole focus is on social media marketing, and I've noticed a trend recently, I guess, just I dabble in social media marketing. I'm a marketer, and social media is part of the whole marketing program, but I wouldn't call myself a specialist in that. What I have noticed recently is that Instagram seems to be gaining a lot of traction. Why do you think that is?
I think Instagram's gaining a lot of traction simply because it's the highest engagement level on any social media platform. People are more apt to build personal relationships and gain new friends on Instagram than they are through Facebook or Twitter. Instagram has built it into where storytelling is an easier thing for people to do. And it's not seen as clickbait because there's no clickable links unless you have a trusted over 10,000 followers, Instagram account. And even then, like, people are more likely to encourage you to go to their website by an organic means, or they're going to be utilizing like a link to your account or something that still allows them to be branded and have a trusted link redirection form on their website, or one that leads directly to their website. People these days aren't looking to, be sold a product, or told buy this now, or as it were in the traditional days of marketing, or the old school days of marketing, where you're using very specific calls to actions that focus on people literally clicking here, or call today. Like, that language isn't really popular anymore. And if it is a company that's using that language, they're not going to be using it on social media. They're going to be looking for more subliminal ways of connecting with individuals and users, helping them feel connected and together with, their brand. A great example that I was looking at, myself and my boyfriend's daughter, we both have asthma. And this company, we've been looking for air filters and new ways to clean the air in our home and keep us healthy. And I was researching a bunch of stuff, and because an Instagram ad was able to pull up a story of someone who has asthma, who has been looking for the same thing and sharing kind of a similar story to, what I had, and how this product called Molecule was able to really transform how they felt and were able to breathe in their home. It inspired me to look more into the product, and we eventually bought that product. It was super expensive, but absolutely worth it. And because of the power of Instagram and the storytelling that these brands are really honing in on, brands are able to really effectively engage and communicate with their followers and their customers instead of, scream buy now at them all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one of the things I've noticed on Facebook, I've kind of gone on a really tight diet on Facebook because it just seems that there is so much noise now. To me, it's undergone a bit of a transition over the years. So it used to be just keeping tabs on friends and family and sharing travel stories or photos and so on. But then, it got to the point where you started building a friend network and people would share what they had for lunch and so on and all the banal things of life.
Yeah.
And then groups started to get traction, and it seemed to be that they were pushing a lot more into the business space, so that connecting groups with like-minded interests in business, and that seemed to me to be a really good value add. But now it's gotten to the point where there's just so much noise there, and there is a lot of this advertising that comes into the feed that says, buy my stuff now. And a lot of it is not even related to what I'm interested in. So even despite all the Facebook retargeting stuff, it's still serving up a lot of junk. So I think, Facebook, I don't know where it's headed next, but it seems to be losing its power. I mean, certainly from a marketer's point of view, I'm thinking twice about using Facebook as a primary social media platform for marketing. So, that's fascinating that Instagram seems to be kind of the place where people are heading to with that trend, I think.
Yeah. Well, I remember when I was 18, this was, 12 years ago, Facebook was this really college friends-based platform. And it wasn't until about 5 years ago where Facebook ads really became a thing and people were using it constantly. At first, it started out to help you get more likes on your Facebook post, or gain more page likes and fans for your Facebook page. And these days, people are using it primarily to sell you a product. And Facebook made a bunch of changes over the last year and a half to remove Facebook business page posts from appearing in the newsfeed, unless you are using ads. And while they do like to say, we're trying to get, Facebook to be more focused on staying connected with friends and being about the latest business article or the latest thing from a page that you like on Facebook. And that's really that is not what people were actually getting now. Now we're getting twice the number of ads that are served to us through video, through mobile video. I consider Facebook videos to be worse than YouTube video ads. On YouTube, they tell you you're going to have at least one ad for the length of video that you have, whether it's 5 minutes or longer. And on Facebook, if your video is 2 minutes or longer, you're going to have at least 1 to 2 ads served at you during that time. And that's just the over commercialization of Facebook. And it's kind of ruining the experience. There's also verbiage like viral, like this piece just went viral today. And I don't care about what just went viral. I want something that's going to serve me and my interests, not the entire population. I want content that is from my friends and my family and the businesses that I like. I liked their business page for a reason, because I wanted to see what else they had to offer on a consistent basis. And they've taken that away.
Yeah, seems counterintuitive for a business marketing platform. But anyway, I guess advertising is their major revenue, and they do need to make money to support the platform.
Yeah.
So you mentioned earlier about storytelling as a key thing on Instagram, and one of the things I'm still trying to understand is when to use stories and when to use feed, and how do those two things relate to one another, and why would you choose one versus the other?
Yeah. So what I love Instagram stories, and I love the Instagram feed. With the Instagram feed, what I tell my clients, and the kind of content we focus on with the Instagram feed, is producing content that's both evergreen at times, and content that also is specific to an overview of a story or provides a very specific piece of advice. And then in your Instagram story, you can, elaborate more on that post you just made in your Instagram feed, or you can show people little moments throughout your day. It's especially great for lifestyle bloggers and fashion bloggers who are constantly talking about what's going on in their day, how they transition from morning to day to night. It's like mom bloggers are probably the best Instagram story users I've ever seen in my life. Constantly showing you the struggle of parenthood, the aha moments that they have throughout the day, or something that's so incredibly trivial that every parent goes through but needs to be talked about more. Stories is really just, it's like when people tell you need to show more behind the scenes with your business and translate that better into social media. Instagram stories is how you do that. Showing the moments in between your work and the moments in between that people can't capture within your newsfeed on your Instagram posts.
So would you recommend the use of video for the stories?
Absolutely. I recommend a variety of content. Instagram uses some really fun filters that can kind of liven up your stories and kind of add a little comedy, or can really put a better polish on a post. There's also, you can record a video, you can go live, You can do boomerang, which is great for when you're talking about something that provides motion. So if you're like me, I'm a really huge hand talker. I move my hands a lot when I'm talking. It's insane. And my friends poke fun at me all the time. But if they're, trying to capture content of me speaking at a conference or like online or something, I'll have someone sitting next to me and I'll have them take some boomerangs while I'm talking just to kind of capture the funny tick that I have with speaking with my hands. And then
So explain to
like
me what a boomerang is, because I heard somebody say it the
yeah.
other day and I wasn't sure what it was.
Sure. So a boomerang is really fun. It's essentially a short 3-second video that you can capture through the Boomerang app from Instagram or through the Boomerang setting on your Instagram stories. And so like if you're in your Instagram app on your phone, whether it's Android or iPhone, you just go to the Instagram story edition icon. And at the bottom, you'll see a couple of options to scroll through. There'll be like a live video, a photo, upload a photo, text, boomerang, filters, etc. You can click on boomerang or scroll it over to boomerang, and then you click the button right there below and you capture the movement of whatever is happening in front of you or from direct, like doing it selfie style. I love doing this with my kids when I take them to the park and they're kind of running around like crazy monkeys. It's a really fun way to capture them running forward, and then it'll rewind it and run it backwards and kind of just loop that motion over and over and over again. It's a great way to really utilize video without sitting there and recording and editing a long video.
All right. Well, there we go. I've learned something new. So we talked just briefly before we started recording about the idea of getting engagement on social media and the human connection element of it. So what's your view of that? Because I think with a lot of the auto posting apps that are around where you can schedule kind of weeks in advance different social media posts, that people kind of use that and then abandon the human connection part.
Yeah, I mean, I see a lot of businesses do this specifically. For those who are like a personal brand or an individual posting on Instagram, I see a lot more engagement happening. And there are some businesses and brands that are really, really great at keeping up with the engagement. And I am definitely someone who utilizes those auto posters. They really help me manage my time and curate the captions and content for each of the Instagram account clients that I have. And also, make sure that my hashtags are up to date and curate any new hashtags into a post as time goes on. But the thing you have to realize too is that while you're utilizing something to help you save more time, the time that you would have been spending on posting organically, you can now utilize to engage with other people on your following list or those who follow you. The more Instagram sees or the algorithm captures you engaging with other accounts and liking other photos, the more it's going to allow your profile to rise in terms of its visibility and the number of impressions that are made on that profile consistently, or even just the post. It's really important to not only have people engage with your posts on Instagram, but engage with them back, whether it's responding to their comments or, like I mentioned, going to their Instagram profiles and liking and commenting on some of their photos. The engagement factor is key in how to grow your Instagram account. You can abandon the follow-unfollow methods that are out there for Instagram if you're solely and consistently engaging with Instagram profiles for each account you have.
Yeah, that's great advice. I like because I use auto posters as well, but I tell people exactly what you said, that the auto posters are a tool to save your time when you're posting, but you use that time to engage with people because it's that human connection. And you mentioned that Instagram measures the level to which you engage with other people's posts and your profile gets ranked accordingly. But the other thing to me is that ultimately this is a marketing tool to generate new business for businesses, and the way to do that, because people will only do business with people they like. So you've got to build trust and build that the know, like, trust factor. And to do that, you've got to develop relationships with people.
Exactly. If you're not, putting in the time to develop these really enriched relationships with people, you're never really going to see a lot of growth and a lot of trust put into you or your brand.
All right. So you mentioned getting engagement from your Instagram posts and so on. So what's the process for someone just getting started like me in Instagram to kind of get some traction, get engagement, and ultimately see a return on investment from the time spent there?
Yeah. So Instagram is a huge challenge these days because there are billions of people utilizing the platform, which makes it challenging to be seen. And so getting the right formula and the right number of posts and the right kind of voice and tone is incredibly important. So with my clients and some of the coaching students that I have and those that I consult with, I usually start off with my workbook. It's a how to adapt your brand into an Instagram brand. Essentially, it helps you walk through and hone in on your message and the type of content you're going to be sharing, the tone that you are going to have within your posts, and the type of content you're going to consistently provide to your followers, as well as tons of other things. I'm working on an Instagram masterclass that has 26 different videos and 7 bonus videos on how to manage your time and come up with a better strategy for your Instagram account based on your industry. I definitely believe that in order to have an effective Instagram account when you're first starting up, it's really about knowing who you are as a brand and how you are going to communicate that through storytelling on your profile. And then once you're able to kind of solidify your brand and understand your beliefs and how those beliefs translate into behaviors and habits, you can create a brand experience, and then update your bio to be more specific about how you're going to serve some of these people and how you provide value to their fellowship. As well as, understanding the key components of what makes a great Instagram photo, because everyone wants to know what that is, and then understanding how to better develop a set of posting regulations for yourself and what I call Instagram post formulas.
Okay. And how often would you be suggesting people post to Instagram?
I think in the very beginning, it's important to be consistent. And consistent doesn't always mean posting every single day. Consistent could be you provide 3 posts consistently every single week, so people know when to check back. Maybe you're a Monday, Wednesday, Friday poster, or a Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday poster, or you do post every single day. It really just comes down to being consistent and sticking to that schedule so people can make sure that they're following up on your content. More profiles are visited organically than they are just by seeing a post in an ad or something. So making sure that you announce or say to your followers, like, hey, I have a new post up, and I'm going to be posting every Monday, Thursday, every Monday through Thursday, so that you guys can make sure that you're checking back for new tips, new advice, all of that. And also, another great way to help grow your brand on Instagram is to start working on an email list. Getting your followers to convert to an email list allows you to send them an update when you've posted something on Instagram or a new blog, or something that you want to share with them. Another great way to help increase your growth on your Instagram account is to really focus on using Instagram stories. You don't necessarily have to post every single day, but if you're posting every single day in your Instagram stories and you're sharing your life and getting your followers more involved with your daily happenings, they're going to be more apt to really dive in and engage with your Instagram feed content when you post it. And it doesn't always have to be all the time.
Yeah, well, there's some great tips there. And I guess the key thing there is understanding who the audience is that you're trying to reach, which is probably core to getting the right message and producing the right sort of content to go out there.
It really is. I mean, there are so many people who I've had with huge Instagram followings that have really seen a ton of growth from their Instagram account just by honing in on how they talk to people and the message that they're providing and the tone that they're utilizing. There's one client that I have, we have an NDA, so I can't say their name and that I'm working with them. But their Instagram account had like 8,000 followers, and they were super close to hitting that 10,000 mark, which was one of their goals, so they could have better brand partnerships in the future. And the issue that she was experiencing was people weren't engaging with her posts. They'd like it, but they weren't commenting and engaging it, which is one of those key factors brands look for when they are partnering with you. So we changed up her tone and kind of focused on 3 main categories within her niche. And she was able to see a lot more growth in her comments and an average engagement rate growth of 23% month over month. And that's changed from 23% to, trying to remember the numbers off the top of my head, to like 47% in engagement increases every month, just by changing her tone and focusing on content that has to do directly with her brand and what her followers are needing from her.
Yeah, that's a key message. It's interesting. I don't know if you've seen there's an article just recently been posted by Buffer on their blog that analyzes the 10 Tree Instagram campaign that they did for Earth Week this year. And their campaign basically had one of the most liked posts in Instagram history. I think they had about 15 million or so likes within a couple of weeks. And it's a really fascinating story.
I think it's the egg. Is that right? The egg is the most liked Instagram post on Instagram of all time?
Yeah, it could be. Yeah,
Something
this
like
one
that.
this one was a tree, and it said double click. You know, it was the image of a tree just on a green background, very plain, and it said double click here to plant a tree. And then that opened up, so they had it set up so that there was a second thing behind that, which was their video explaining their mission to plant trees in Indonesia, and that they promised to plant 1 tree for every 1,000 likes, I think it was.
Yeah, and that's a great way to build trust with your followers, is by creating a post that's like that. And that's how you can gain so much engagement, and the number of people that might like your post too, is create something that's interactive and create something that people can get behind. It doesn't necessarily have to be your brand. Maybe you sell cars, but let's say, for everyone that comments with their favorite brand or their favorite type of car or their dream car will donate X number of dollars to this foundation, people will get on board with that, and they'll see that your company cares about more than just making money and more than just selling cars. That's really what these kinds of posts are about. It's to help your followers understand that you care about more than just the money they spend with you.
All right. Now, you mentioned converting followers to an email list. So what's the process for going about that in Instagram?
Sure. So the process for getting your followers to convert to your email list is kind of twofold. So first, you want to build a following of a couple of thousand people before you start promoting an email list. I think that you can always have an email list available, but it should strictly be on your website. Making sure that you have that website is going to be step number one. Because if people begin following you in the early stages and check out your articles and blogs you might be writing on your website, you want to have, signing up for your email list as an option. Then once you begin to gain traction as a micro influencer or just as a personality on Instagram, you can start saying like, I only post a few times a week on Instagram, but if you go over to my email list and sign up, you'll hear from me every single day. And you'll get a breakdown of what's been happening and what's been going on with me and my life and whatever it is that I'm a writer about or whatever it is that I have to sell. That way people can get engaged with you off the platform. Because that's an important part of, a really great Instagram strategy is if you're a business, you want to make money off of Instagram. And you can't do that necessarily by listing your services on Instagram and expecting people to buy or click over to convert to a client or schedule a consultation. It's really just about building that trust with them through consistent posting, consistent engagement with them, and then providing them the opportunity to take action when they feel that they trust you and that they feel that you're comfortable with that.
Yeah. And I think that's really great advice for any platform. I just see so much in all the platforms where people basically post for a while and then they say, come and buy my stuff. And it's like, okay, I've seen a lot of your posts on Instagram, let's say, but I don't really know you. We don't have a relationship. Why would I spend a lot of money with you until I get to that point of know, like, and trust you? So yeah, and email is still one, online, remotely, email is still one of the best ways to grow that know, like, trust factor by, sending really useful information to your list, stuff that they're interested in, stuff that helps them out. That's really the way they get to know you more deeply, and in getting to know you by doing the right things, you build that trust and relationship with them.
Exactly. And, a lot of businesses that I begin working with, and I talk to them about how important email is going to be, and later on in their marketing strategy, they're always like, no one reads their email. Our open reads are garbage. Our click-through rates are garbage. No one cares. And usually I'm like, well, I think it's more than just no one cares. I think it's, we need to refine the strategy and begin building trust. Because if you start immediately sending someone a bunch of emails after they just started following you on a social media account or after they just made a purchase for the first time, like, that's kind of tacky. Like, you need to slowly build up to making that relationship a little bit more robust. Again, it just goes down to the trust factor. If people don't trust your brand or trust you, they're not going to be inclined to make a purchase or sign up for a service with you. They also need to know that you know what you're talking about. As a service provider, like, and I'm sure you can understand this too, like, as marketers, it's difficult to be like, hey, I should do all of your marketing for you. Sign up for services with me. We have to provide proof of our expertise, provide proof of our understanding of the market and different markets and whatnot. And Instagram's a great way to do that. A lot of my posts have to do with talking about different Instagram strategies or different tips or small little tweaks that you can make to improve your Instagram profile. And then when I had started making my content solely about that Instagram-based content, my following started going up more organically, and I began getting at least 2 to 3 different consultation requests through my direct messages on Instagram. It's all about providing value to your followers. After they find value, or after they find that value and understand that value and have that trust, they're going to message you and ask for services. And that's what you want. You want people to chase you for services, not you chase them.
Yeah, well, that's absolutely gold, that advice. And it applies to general marketing, not just Instagram marketing, but people tend to forget that with the ease of the technology these days. And I have a rule now. My emails have kind of blown out of proportion a little bit again. And whilst I have some really neat systems so that I've only got about 10 messages in my inbox every morning, I do have a lot of other emails that get sorted into other places, and many of those are not adding value to me, and I'm on an email diet now to unsubscribe ruthlessly to things. And I have a new rule that I've introduced, because there's a lot of people that I follow them somewhere on social media, or I might sign up for a lead magnet they have. Sometimes I sign up for lead magnets not because I'm interested in the information, because I just want to see the process that they're using to follow through on that. And then the next email I get is, oh, buy my stuff. And so my rule is, if I get an email like that as the first email, I immediately unsubscribe.
Yeah, like, I don't want to be sold 1,000 other things. I just wanted your free tips to better my Instagram account to see if they were
and I'd like to get to know you. And then once I get to know you, well, maybe I'll buy something, but not before that.
Exactly.
All right, Sarah, this has been absolutely fascinating. I could dig some more into Instagram and learning more about it. I've already learned a lot, but I'm aware of the time, and I think we should move on to the Buzz, which is our innovation round, and it's designed to help our audience, who are primarily innovators and leaders in their field, with some tips from your experience. So I've got 5 questions in the Buzz round, and hopefully you'll give us some really insightful answers and inspire people to go and do something awesome today. And maybe they'll post about that in their Instagram feed and tag you.
Sounds good.
Yeah. What's the number one thing you think anyone needs to do to be more innovative?
The number one thing that people need to do to be more innovative is look inward to who they are as a person and a brand. Because going and copying what your competitors are doing, what other Instagrammers are doing, is not innovative. It's just copying what they're doing. Look inward and share that with the people around you.
Yeah, great advice. So being aware of what makes you special and where you really add value to your community.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the best thing you've done to develop new ideas or new products?
It actually has a lot to do with giving my brain space to decompress and disconnect. The best thing I have ever done to reinvigorate my creativity has been to turn off all my phones, turn off all my computers, and go up to the mountains and just enjoy nature and hike, or spend time with my kids playing outside and allowing me to see the world through someone else's eyes, and then take that back and feel refreshed. And sometimes I come up with brand new ideas when I'm out hiking in Flagstaff or something.
Yeah, that's great advice. I mean, it really is. I mean, I find that so magical to go out with friends or family or even my pets and just sort of spend time focused on them, or go out. I love to hike and walk, but I'm a keen bike rider as well. And I find, particularly if I'm out on my own on the bike, because it tends to be a bit of a social activity, but if I'm on my own, I come up with heaps of ideas while that's happening, because my brain's kind of not busy looking at screens and answering emails and whatnot.
Yeah, it has room to breathe.
Yeah. Okay, what's a resource that you use most often, aside from Instagram?
Sprout Social. I love it. It is the number one tool I utilize for everything non-Instagram. I connect a lot of my Instagram accounts to gather data and have reports readily available for me. But it's a really great tool for managing all of the content that's shared across multiple streams, and then having one central communication hub where I can just log in and view all of the incoming messages from followers and fans on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, LinkedIn, and Instagram.
All right, sounds fantastic. Now, I've had a look at Sprout Social, but I'm not a user of it, so I'm not that familiar with it, but we'll post a link in the show notes so people can check it out.
Sounds
now,
good.
what's the best way to keep a project or a client on track with the work you do with them?
The best way I keep them on track is actually through using Google Spreadsheets or an Excel spreadsheet, and providing them with a timeline and content schedule so that they know what kind of content might be coming up. Some of my smaller Instagram clients, they take photos from me from wherever they are and send them to me, and by keeping them up to date with the kind of content that we have coming up, they're able to, stay on top of providing me with the photos I need to share on their Instagram accounts.
Yeah, great way to track that. And do you find it, this is not part of the buzz, but it's kind of a follow-on question. Do you find
Yeah.
it challenging to get content from people when you're managing their social media? Because one of the things I find really challenging is where people are, where we're doing blogs for people or setting up their websites, that getting content from them is a bit of a challenge sometimes.
Yeah, I think that's just a normal part of being a marketer. You're constantly emailing, "Hey, I still need this. Hey, I need this. Hey, did you get a chance to start writing this and approve this? Send it to me, please."
Yeah.
But when it comes to Instagram, the great thing I've been able to do is I schedule all of my clients 30 days out ahead of time. So if I know that we're going to be running low in 30 days, that client still has a full 30 days to get that content uploaded into their Planoly account or emailed to me or into their shared customer folder or client folder. And that's really helped me make sure that I have enough content from them, and always keeping an open line of communication with them about that.
Yeah. All right. Great. Now, what's the number one thing you think anyone can do to differentiate themselves?
I think it goes back to the first question. It's
Yeah.
all about looking inward, finding what makes you and what you have to offer unique, and honing in on that. For me, my company wasn't always called Mother of Marketing. It was the Blonde Spot, and I went with that because I had blonde hair, and everyone that was working for me had blonde hair, and we tried to go with this whole blondes aren't dumb kind of thing. And as I got older, it just wasn't vibing anymore. I needed something that felt empowered and strong and confident. And being a huge Game of Thrones fan, Daenerys Targaryen, one of the big characters from that show, is called Mother of Dragons. And so I took a play on Mother of Dragons and turned it into Mother of Marketing to help brands and entrepreneurs feel more empowered by knowing what's going on with their social media marketing and having a definite plan when it comes to how to promote themselves and what kind of a game plan we have for them going on each month and into the year.
Yeah, I love the way you did the branding, and of course, being a mother in real life is kind of it's a good way to bring in a personal aspect to that, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the word mother is such a nurturing and warm sounding word, or even just mom. And, marketing is so analytical and hard-lined, and bringing a soft aspect to it is often challenging. And I feel that, with Mother of Marketing, we're able to really have that nurturing, understanding teacher mom vibe to it.
All right. Well, thanks, Sarah. This has been really fantastic. Now, where can people reach out to learn more about you and perhaps even get in touch to say thank you and find out how you might be able to help them?
Sure. People can find me at motherofmarketing.co, and that's .co. They can also find me on Instagram as Mother of Marketing, and on Facebook at facebook.com/motherofmarketing1, the number one.
All right. We'll post those links in the show notes as well. So what's the number one piece of advice you'd have for any business owner who wants to be a leader in their field, a leader in innovation?
The biggest piece of advice I have for someone who's looking to be an innovator in their business field is to, again, really go with what you know, which is understanding your brand to a full extent and being able to confidently and clearly communicate that with people and how you provide value to them in their life.
Yeah, that's great advice. So, two aspects to that, really the self-awareness of where you add the most value and unique value, how you add that unique value, and then being able to communicate it.
Exactly. Self-awareness is so important.
Yeah. All right. Well, finally then, Sarah, who would you like me to interview on a future InnovaBuzz podcast, and why?
I think Lance Cawthorn would be a really interesting person to speak to. He is a personal finance writer who has gone from working specifically with clients to finding his own way to innovate his own blog and pivot his way from being a freelance writer to being a full-time blog writer focused on helping people empower themselves financially.
All right. Sounds fascinating. We'll get an introduction from you and try to get Lance on the podcast. Well, thanks again, Sarah, for sharing your time and your insights with us so generously today. I've learned a heap about Instagram. I need to go and check it out some more and play with stories a little bit. I trust that the listener has learned a lot as well. And again, thank you. I wish you all the best for the future, and let's keep in touch.
Sounds good. Thank you so much for having me on. I've had a great time discussing Instagram with you.
Thanks. I hope you enjoyed that insightful and delightfully engaging conversation with Sarah and took something away from her episode. She shared a really important message that social media is a means to connect with your audience, but then you need to build trust and engagement before you get to the point of offering something for sale. Sarah also shared some wonderful examples of how businesses are using Instagram in a very productive way. I'd love to know what you took away from Sarah's interview. Leave a comment below the blog post, which you can find at innovabiz.co/Sarah Allison. That is SarahAllison, all lowercase, all one word, innovabiz.co/Sarah Allison. You'll also find contact information for getting in touch with Sarah there, as well as links to the Mother of Marketing website, her Instagram page, and the other resources we spoke about in this conversation. Sarah suggested we interview Lance Cothern of moneymanifesto.com on a future InnovaBuzz podcast. So Lance, keep an eye on your inbox for an invitation from us to the InnovaBuzz podcast, courtesy of Sarah Allison. Finally, I'd like to give a shout out to Peter from Sydney, Australia, for his review of the InnovaBuzz podcast. He says, "Super informative show. I love this show. Great topics, easy to listen to, and just plain good content." Thank you, Peter. I'm glad we're adding value to your listening time. Remember to visit innovabiz.co/VIP to access the Transformational Marketing Hub and all its free and exceptionally useful information to help you transform your marketing. Also, check out our Tales of Marketing Transformation show at talesofmarketingtransformation.com, where each episode will provide one valuable message to guide you on your journey of marketing transformation. And of course, tune in again next week to the InnovaBuzz podcast, where we've got more fantastic guests lined up, including a double header with Dr. Annette Coy and Cameron Fee of the Cortex Group, and Brian Dixon, the author of Start With Your People. Stay connected. Subscribe to the InnovaBuzz podcast so you'll make sure you'll never miss another episode. Head on over to innovabiz.co/subscribe. We'd also love you to leave us a review, because what you think matters to us. Take some of the ideas you've heard today and apply them in your business. Any thoughts, ideas, suggestions, or questions, then share them in the comments below the blog post. And remember, if you want to get better marketing results than you ever have, join our fantastic Facebook community at the Tales of Marketing Transformation Facebook group. All you have to do is go to innovabiz.co/TMA. It's free to join. I hope to see you there soon. Until next time, I'm Jürgen Strauss from InnovaBiz. Remember to be awesome and keep innovating.